You heard the rest. Now here's the best. Stay Tuned Sports Podcast.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here, back after a very exciting divisional round of football games. I don't know how Super Bowl and the championship games are going to top that, but definitely going to have to dive into some of these games, especially one that may have impact for the future of NFL overtime rules. But before we get into this show, head over to staytunesports.net for all of our social media accounts on the right hand side there. You're going to want to start liking and sharing them because I did a test run of a live stream on my personal Facebook page, and it was quite interesting. But hopefully this weekend I'm going to do a live one for the bare knuckle. I don't think it's a pay-per-view, but I think it's just a regular fight night show on Saturday night. And the wife is going to join me, Alicia, who also does a podcast with me, Wine, Whiskey, and a Review. Hopefully in the next couple weeks we're going to get that one up and running again. Kind of took a break from that. But head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/stsports. Just another way to show your support for the show. Follow us there as well if you want. Buy me a beer if you want. Like, literally, you could send me $1, which is a beer, you know? And, you know, with Super Bowl coming up, I'm going to do a giveaway. So whatever we get from the buymeacoffee.com/stsports site or any merchandise sales, we're going to do something for the Super Bowl as far as a giveaway. Still got plenty of time, 3 weeks before that happens. And then also we still have our chat line still open, 612 STS chat. Definitely would like to hear your guys' opinions about the overtime rules. Should we change them? Should they stay the same? Should they completely overhaul them, you know? And any other sports topics that you may have an opinion about or want to hear my opinion about. But before we get into the divisional round games and how they all unfolded, this past weekend, past Friday, we had the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast Truck Series back again at North Wilkes-Barre. A very, in their terms, a little bit more cautions than normal. I believe there was like 5 or 6 total cautions, but very slippery track. A lot of the cautions were due to like the back end of the trucks spinning out. There was one nasty wreck that I think involved Chris Darling, that pretty much blocked the whole truck lanes down to the point that, you know, most of the trucks had come to a stop. But as far as, you know, the chase itself, Jason Gracias won the race. Now he's up by 21 points on second place. He overtook the first place spot from John Canizaro, I believe it was. As far as our racer, Matt Cherry, he did move up a little bit. He had a decent finish, he had a top 10 finish, but he is 109 points behind with, I believe, like 2 races, maybe 3 races left. So he needs a lot more good finishes and some help, I believe, to have a chance to get back up there in the championship talk. As far as my 3 racers that I picked to watch before the chase happened, like I just said, Jason Gracias won this past week. He's up by 21 points. He's going to be tough to beat. I mean, I know it's only 21 points and anything could happen with it being that close, but his last 3 races all were top 5 finishes. You know, he won this week, came in second, and I think second the week before. So I think it's pretty much his to lose the way he's been racing. Is that my kiss of death that really hasn't really hit anybody this year, unlike last year? We'll see. Philip Scott was my second pick driver to watch. He's just kind of out of that momentum. He's starting to slip really far back. He's 9th place now, behind 269 points. So I mean, he basically had to win out and everybody else wreck out to have a chance to win the championship. And then John Cannizzaro didn't finish that good, finished in 14th. He actually dropped to 4th place in the chase, 56 points back from Jason Gracias. It's doable, especially with 2 or 3 races left. So basically my picks are down to Cannizzaro and Gracias to win it. But again, with how Jason's been driving lately, just been out there, just passing cars left and right, really fast, and there's no one really other than maybe Chris Darling. Chris Darling the past 2 weeks has been showing he's been a lot faster, so maybe he could give a little push, even though he didn't have a great finish this past week. He did spin out a couple times, so that may have contributed to slightly not as good of a finish that he was hoping for. But this week, tune in Friday night over on YouTube, 3 White TV. Stay Tuned Sports podcast truck series. Only 2 races left, so there should be a lot more drama starting to really build up, especially if some of these guys could get a little bit closer to Jason in the points to make it a little bit more of a push than a wash for him to win this whole thing. Past weekend was the divisional rounds for the NFL games, for the NFL season. I'll admit, Saturday I did not watch any games. I actually went to Baby Penn's game this past week, which was actually a really good game. Pens were down by 1, 46 seconds left, tie it up, take it overtime, and ended up winning it with a 3-on-3. So I really didn't get a chance to watch those games. It sounded like the Bengals and the Titans were a good game. Joe Burrow just seems like he's just having fun out there and winning games. And I forget who I commented to on Twitter. That Bengals team reminds me a lot of my Philadelphia Eagles when we won the Super Bowl. They're a young team. No one's really giving them a chance. And so they don't really have pressure. Like I said last week, they're pretty much playing with house money right now. They weren't supposed to be this good. They weren't supposed to make it this far. And here they are in a divisional round playing the Kansas City Chiefs, which we'll talk about in a second. Aaron Rodgers gets bounced after one game. He just cannot beat the 49ers. It's weird. It's like they're cursed. He's cursed towards them or something. He couldn't beat them when he played against them with Colin Kaepernick. And it's surprising because he is supposedly the MVP leader. And to get bounced after one game, and then Sunday with Tampa Bay playing St. Louis with Brady making a huge comeback with that team. I thought if he wins this, they should just hand over the MVP trophy to him. I mean, that's twice in what, 5-6 years? I forget when the Atlanta Super Bowl was, but to come down by that much and almost win, and then only to have his defense leave Cooper Kupp that wide open, only to lose the game. I mean, if you guys have listened over the years, you guys know I'm not a Brady fan. Never rooted for him. Always felt he definitely got the favoritism towards him. Especially with Spygate and Deflategate, and even some of the calls on the field, which he had his first unsportsmanlike conduct because he was complaining to the ref that he got hit below the helmet, right on the chin. Which, I mean, if you go back and watch that replay, he did get hit in the chin. So, I mean, that should have been a roughing the passer call. Was not called. But Brady and Tampa Bay gets bounced by the Rams. Matthew Stafford finally has a team and a defense that can complement him. And I think that's what's helping this team right now going forward, because, and you guys will see in a little bit when I give my championship weekend picks, I don't see an answer for the 49ers to beat the Rams. There's just too many weapons that the Rams have. Stafford is on the verge of breaking a record of most playoff touchdowns. I think they say at like 19 now or so, tied with, Dan Marino, Tom Brady. I forget who the third one was. But back to the Chiefs and the Bills. When the Buccaneers game got done, me and my youngest were sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, how the hell are any games going forward going to be able to top this one? This had to be game of the year. Well, I started putzing around the house and everything. I think I missed the first half of the Bills Kansas City game. I was keeping an eye on the score on my phone and everything. But when I tuned in, it was I believe it was like 21-23 Kansas City at the time. And the last minute and a half of the game between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes included 3 lead changes and 25 total points. Just a complete shootout. I saw a stat today that said the yards Patrick Mahomes threw in that last minute and a half was more than what Jimmy Garoppolo is averaging in the playoffs. That's just insane. I mean, I know, Mahomes got Tyreek Hill and McKinnon at running back, and he has weapons, Kelsey, but that is insane to put up that type of performance in a minute and a half. Only to go to overtime. I mean, every lead change that happened was like, well, Josh Allen won. Well, Mahomes won. Well, Josh Allen won. It just kept going back and forth. Like, you didn't think the other guy was going to come back from what just happened. Goes to overtime. Kansas City wins the toss. And that's where this future drama, I'll call it, because there's no there's no rumors or statements out there saying that it's going to get changed, but for the performance Josh Allen put out there, to not get a chance or a possession in overtime to at least attempt to tie is just, it's a tragedy, honestly. I mean, it was still an awesome game, best game of the year, best game probably in the past 5 years, regular season or playoff. But to have it end that way, like it was in a way anticlimactic, at least to me. Now I know our good buddy King disagrees with me here that the overtime rules should be changed. He thinks they're fine. Bills defense should have stopped them, and I agree. But Josh Allen should have a chance to make the Bills defense stop him. And since then, so many commentators, so many players have commented on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff that something has to be changed. And you know what? It does. If the game is looking to evolve and not stay the same and not stay plain Jane, they gotta evolve with the times. And if you look at the stats, I think I saw somewhere that basically 60% of the teams that win the coin toss end up winning the game. Now, you should probably say 60%. That's not that bad. But if you really think about it, it's every, it's not as fair as it could be. And I think there's some options out there to still make the game exciting, but help the game evolve. Now, one rule overtime rule that got actually proposed last year, I believe, by the Ravens was called the spot and choose rule. Which one team would choose what yard line on the field, no matter which end, to start at. The team that didn't win the coin toss, so whoever wins the coin toss picks the, where to start the overtime at. The team that doesn't win the coin toss gets to decide either we'll start there or we'll defend there. Still be a 10-minute overtime period, but once the overtime starts, then the overtime rules that are right now would be, would be part of this. So basically, the only thing they're adding to the overtime rules now is the whole whoever wins the coin toss, eliminate kickoffs, pick where to start. I still don't like that because if a team scores a touchdown, it's over. The other team didn't get a chance to try to tie it. The other one would be both teams have one possession. Basically, no, the other one was the field goal skills competition, which I thought was just stupid. Like then now you get into like original XFL type rules. But I started thinking my idea, in my head, like how would I change it? And when I was arguing with our good buddy King about it, he said, it definitely won't get changed, especially with player safety and worrying about the game just going on and on and on for overtime. Now this is strictly overtime. The way the game is for a regular season, keep it that way. But my idea of how to change this and make it better, both teams get a possession, keep the coin toss, keep the, do you want possession first or second? The other team picks what side of the field to defend. But here's where you can make it interesting. The team that gets the second possession must beat the time it took the other team to score, whether the first possession was a field goal or touchdown. So for example, Patrick Mahomes took him 13 seconds to get downfield. They kick a field goal. Okay, second team comes on. That team has 13 seconds or less to get a field goal to tie it up to go into another possession, which then it would be sudden death. Whoever scores the next point is done. But if that team scores a touchdown in under 13 seconds, they win. Game over. This way, honestly, what's the chances of a playoff overtime game having two scores in 26 seconds, whether it be a touchdown or a field goal to tie it back up? And I think that would add drama to the game. To that game, at least, I should say. With how Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes were playing this game, like I say, I felt so bad for Josh Allen and the Bills. And even the receiver, Davis, 4 touchdowns in the playoff game. Just insane. And to not get a chance to at least tie the game up. So I think you're definitely going to see something, a bigger push this offseason when it comes to competition committee. I know Rooney from the Steelers says he definitely is open to a change. And I think it's about time. I think it's about time to tweak some of these rules, especially the taunting rule that was made because of Tyreek Hill last year to only not get called again this year. So it's just insane. There's still a lot to clean up as far as officiating, but we gotta clean up this overtime drama. up next is our hot minute take. Questions. I don't even think Brady had his shoulder pads off yet. We're already started. Is he going to retire? And from the way he made it sound, he's not rushing to the decision, but it's out there. And here's what I got to say about that. So if I'm Tom Brady, with everything I've done, all the records I hold, all the championships I hold, what else is there out there for me? What is the motivation to come back? You look at this team compared to the Super Bowl team. They lost a lot of weapons. Antonio Brown was a big part of their Super Bowl run. He gets waived, fired, quit, whatever you want to call it. Lose their big second receiver to an ACL tear. So basically they're down to Gronk and Mike Evans. If Tampa Bay doesn't do anything, just retire. You have nothing else to prove. But on the flip side, if I'm Tom Brady, I'm not giving an answer. I'm waiting it out. Let Tampa Bay draft a quarterback. See if they add weapons. Because if they could add weapons like that Super Bowl team, why not come back and try to go out on top? So that was my hot minute take there. The other little caveat, I guess you would say, about the Tom Brady situation too is I'm not sure if it's official yet, but Brian Leftwich, the Tampa Bay offense coordinator, is going to be named the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I think will be a big decision to weigh for Tom Brady. Do I think he's going to retire? I mean, the way he was talking, I could see it. But it's Tom Brady. I think he doesn't want to go out losing just like how he did in divisional round. So before I talk a little fight news, figure I'd pick the championship round here, but kind of recap about last week. I went 1-2 with my picks. I'm going to pick 3 games. I lost the Packers game, and I lost the Buccaneers game, I believe it was. But for this weekend, I'm riding the Bengals train till the train comes off the track. Like I said earlier, Bengals just playing with I don't want to say no fear, but just no regard. And when you're playing loose and you're having fun, that's a tough thing to beat. And when you look at the Chiefs, they had a tough time. Granted, in the first quarter, it was only one quarter, but a tough time against the Steelers in the first quarter. Bills are a hell of a lot better team than the Steelers, and it took them to overtime to beat them. Now the question is, how much gas did that game take out of the Chiefs? So we'll have to see what happens with that game. But I will predict this: if it's another shootout, Mahomes will win it, just because of experience. Then as far as the Rams and Niners, I got the Rams over Niners. I think the Rams just have too many weapons. That defense is just too good. And I think the Niners finally will hit the end of the road here. So as far as fight news, this past weekend, UFC 270, I believe it was, Francis Ngannou recaptures his heavyweight title, or unifies his heavyweight title, after winning by decision over Cyril Gane. And Dana White was not in the ring to wrap the belt around him, which, if you haven't been following, Dana White and Francis have been having a public spat over fight salary. And just to kind of show you where UFC is with their fighters and money, Francis made, I think they said $700,000 for the fight, no win bonus. Whereas if you combine the main event, co-main event, and I believe the fight right before the co-main event, still made less than what Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder made for their bout. So the fight pay is just ridiculously low. And good for Francis Ngannou for standing up and saying, hey, I deserve more. Dana White's little pettiness, didn't want to put the belt around him, fine. Didn't even show up to Francis Ngannou's post-fight presser. But yet, when the co-main event named the new champion, Dana White was right there to put the belt on. So, the thing is with me and this whole Dana White thing, this is not going to be the last time you'll see a fighter complain about pay. And even Francis said, I could go over to boxing and knock out cans there. I could go to Bellator because this was his last fight on the contract. And Francis was even commented on saying that when they strip me of this belt, that's when I know I'm a free agent, which I know he's waiting for. And he even dropped saying about going to BKFC, which I'd be curious to see how he does over there. I mean, the heavyweights are pretty good over there. And if that were to happen, and I even saw something say that if Israel Adesanya and Kamaru Usman stand behind him and UFC loses those 3 champions, you might see UFC start falling down a little bit here, especially with the pay-per-view prices going up. I think pay-per-view price now is like $80 a pay-per-view. To watch all pay-per-views this year for UFC, it's something like $1,200. It's insane. And you can't pay your fighters. You're a multi-million, probably a billion company, and you're paying your fighters at most $1 million. UFC, if they keep on this road, will be only a stepping stone for up-and-coming fighters. You look at Conor McGregor, came from nothing, won both belts, went to boxing, made a ton of cash, started a company, and what has he done since boxing? Nothing, because he don't have... I think his problem is he doesn't have that same fire that he did before the boxing match. And if these fighters know, listen, I could go over to boxing or even bare knuckle fighting championship and make in one night what I made in my whole UFC career, why not? Tyron Woodley fought Jake Paul twice, and now he's retired because that's how much money he made. Speaking of Jake Paul, he bought an investment into UFC, so I'm curious to see. As much as I hate him, I don't hate him, I just dislike him. I'm curious to see if he sticks by his word to try to get fighters more pay. And if that were to happen, UFC could stay afloat. But you're going to see a dip in talent if Dana White and UFC does not get this whole pay scale, pay salary fixed. I think that's going to be it for this week. Head over to staytunesports.net for all of our social media accounts. It's on the right hand side there. Up top is our merch tab. Head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/stsports to show your support towards the show. Give me a call, 612-STS-CHAT, or it's 612-787-2428. Tell me what your opinion is about the overtime rules. What do you think about Dana White and his pettiness? Curious to see what you guys, gotta say. And make sure you guys head over to Max Graphics Facebook page. I forgot to mention them during our race chat there. For any paint schemes, designs for your iRacing likes. So, till next week, it's your good friend Jimbo, signing out.